Welcome to a brand new episode of the Fitish podcast. Did you have a good Easter?
I had a wonderful one.
What did we do?
So we did a lot of stuff. We went to the Arboretum with him. We went to the zoo again the day before.
So I've purchased a lot of memberships recently. I used to watch people with kids. You know, when you wake up hungover on a Saturday morning and you look at your friends with kids and you're like, wow, they've done this, 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 and this. I get it now. We don't tend to go places at 7 a.m., but we are awake. And I remember those days. Do you remember those days seeing your friends with kids 100%. And being like, wow, they've lived a lifetime before noon. And that's how it is for us now. But, you know, you start to realize you go to the zoo or you go to the Arboretum, which the Arboretum's amazing. And you're like, wow, all we have to do is go twice. And it makes sense to have a membership with the parking. And now we got it all figured out. You don't feel pressure. You know, you don't feel pressure to stay for hours with the cost of the ticket and the parking. You're like, at the zoo, we can do North America. North America is the less visited side of the zoo because everyone wants to go to Africa.
It all seemed crowded to me.
I think North America is especially where the snakes are, not always as crowded. Not the highlight of the zoo.
Well, I've never been in North America besides before the last time we went, which was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So, I like it.
I've been in Africa twice. I've been in the zoo twice before I met you.
Are we still talking about the zoo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. This was a analogy for something.
No.
Your dating life. Yeah.
No, babe.
I like the North America side because they have the farm animals and a petting zoo, and it hasn't been that crowded on that side when we go. I think, again, because a lot of people just kind of skip it because feeding the giraffes is so exciting.
Yeah, I think it's just a whole different experience when you have kids, for sure.
Yeah, so that's what we did this weekend, y'all. This is who we are now. We did some activities, and it was nice. And the Arboretum was great on Easter, even though the Easter bunnies, they were real for photos. They were small bunnies, which is preferable to the giant, weird creature dressed in a suit, which has always been very strange to me. And but the real Easter bunnies were there, and they ran out of photos. And Fran and I were kind of laughing, going this is a bad business model, because the guy told us, hey, we aren't doing any more pictures because we ran out of photo forms to fill out. There were 10 people in line. We were like, okay, well, you just ran out of forms to fill out. Not a good business model. You could have made so much. Yeah, all sign your hand, whatever you need or something online. So, wasn't prepared for the business he was getting that day. But again, the professional holiday photos with creatures have once again escaped me and our family. I totally dropped the ball on Santa. No professional Santa photos were taken Remy's first year. And I regret that. I waited too long. The mall, it was a nightmare. It just wasn't happening. And so now I know. I think I'm gonna get Santa to come over sometime soon. Do some photos.
100%, babe.
That way
when
we
are
just
you gonna get it discounted?
Yeah, discount
and
summer
maybe a
Santa.
Thinner.
Yeah, I feel like we just need. You should just
if Santa did his New Year's resolutions, he might be already lost some pounds.
Yeah, you should do holiday photos all in one setting. Change their clothes, pose them. You get photos.
By the time that that Christmas comes, he's gonna be talking. And it's that's not.
Yeah, I say that, but getting photos with kids is so difficult. And for us, I said I don't have regret over not doing those what do you call them, newborn photos, when people and people put them in buckets and and they're sleeping. So they're really cute. And I mean, Fran, almost everyone does it. So, but I was so not okay postpartum. It was the farthest thing from my mind wanting to do makeup and put a dress on and get photos taken in the house. I don't even know how some women do that immediately after. I just couldn't even comprehend doing it. Maybe with the next one, if we even have another one, I know what I'm getting into a little more. But I had 6 weeks.
Another one
that I was like, I get it. Every time it gets brought up, you're like, that. I understand you don't want another one. So there we have it. Fran does not want another child.
I do want another one. I have a hard time wrapping that thought around my head right now. Like, I think I love Remy so much that I cannot conceive myself loving someone else as much as like a new baby. So, but it's just a different subject for a different day.
Yeah, we'd love y'all's feedback. Speaking of feedback, you're going to have a chance to give Fran your feedback because Fran's bringing the drama. Fran is bringing the drama to the Fitish podcast and to our lives. Well, unintentionally, between the attempted robbery and assault last week. Then something else more emotionally traumatic happened to Francisco when I was in Los Angeles. So we'll get to Francisco's story. Yours is the better story than mine. So we'll tease it for here shortly, a little later in the show. But yeah, I went to Los Angeles actually for a couple of days and I did okay because I know I speak pretty openly about how much I fucking hate to fly. I do medicate.
Have you tried therapy?
Both ways. Have I tried therapy?
Yeah. Have you tried
No, remember on last week's show, I talked about a certain kind of therapy that they offer that's like EMDR or something like that a lot of people have recommended. But no, I haven't. I would tell you if I did it. I haven't had a chance to find someone here in town that specializes in that particular kind of therapy. I've heard that it works well. It's some sort of immersive. Yeah. My understanding of that form of therapy is that they believe that, I'm sure there's a lot more to it, so I shouldn't really even speak too much about it. But in my brief research on it, they say that they try to desensitize you from all the things that set you off about flying, right? So especially kind of when you're at the airport, the smell of the airport, the smell and the sounds of the plane and things like that. So of course, all of those things lead to you feeling like I'm in a flying metal coffin and I'm going to die. And, but my fear starts a week before now. I've noticed that I get a lot of anxiety when I haven't flown in a long time. And, I haven't been on a flight since
Mexico.
I guess that was just January. So that wasn't bad. But I mean, you and I used to travel more than that. There used to be a time that I was on a flight every couple of weeks, I mean, COVID changed that and we didn't travel for a while. But yeah, sometimes it's just, I'm okay. Like on the way home, I tend to feel better. On the way out to a trip, like flying from here to Los Angeles, I feel that I'm so far away from y'all, like from Remy, from getting home, because I know I'm a flight and days away from returning. And that just contributes to it. I don't know. And having a kid's only amplified my anxiety and my fear. Don't like it at all. But I took a half of a Xanax and that helps. I mean, it kind of just brings me down to normal. I actually took it too late on the flight. I took it right before I boarded and it didn't even really hit me until like 3/4 of the way through the flight. Cause once your anxiety gets too high. Anyway, that wasn't even the story I was going to tell because who cares about my flying anxiety? But
we all care.
But I think it's just one of those things that you can try to be sympathetic and have empathy, and y'all know, those of you that have a really big fear of anything, when you don't have a fear of flying, it seems kind of ridiculous. You can't really understand how paralyzing and debilitating it can be. And it really sucks. I mean, I'm not happy about it. I wish that I didn't have it. I think it's lame. I hate having any kind of fear or phobia in that way. And those of you that do have a fear of flying like I do, that it just sucks because you want to travel, but you really, truly have this anxiety so heavy that by the time you land, you're exhausted. And I try to book a flight to where I don't have to go give a speech or do something after, if you had to fly out and do some presentation or work and you're medicating, you're kind of fucked, you take that
or
Xanax.
Funnier.
I don't know. No, because Xanax makes you have a heavy tongue. You'd be like, blah, 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 blah. But we launched a new Fitish product, a serum, our first product that doesn't have CBD in it. Well, second. But, we really made a decision not put CBD in it. And, but we're excited about it. So yeah, we went out there to do a couple of activations with some, editors. We had a lot of Brad Pitt's makeup artist came to one of our events. She was so nice. And, later I'm looking at the guest list of who our PR invited, I noticed there were like a lot of makeup artists. You know, they wanted stuff for their kit. And I don't know what kind of return that gets for us, you know? But then I realized we got tagged in a photo, not on Brad Pitt, but how amazing if she ever used our stuff. Because then what would happen is they tag, makeup artists are amazing because they use these products, they tag it in the red carpet photo. So like you could technically say your product was like on this celebrity. And I've heard that it's actually really great for beauty and skincare products to be used on celebrities, not because the celebrity is ever going to like promote it, you know, but because the makeup artist uses it on so many people that it just kind of finds its way around, you know, influential people and on red carpets and things like that. So we'll see, fingers crossed. I mean, that'd be so amazing, you know.
And I'm pretty sure there's thousands of makeup artists that look up to these makeup artists.
Right. Right. So the way makeup artists that I've learned work is like a lot of them that came to my event, for instance, like they are ones that work in Hollywood like that, or even locally, they're represented like models are, right? Like they work with agencies. So then they get booked for shoots through their agency, and then agencies take a cut of everything. But a lot of them come from like a talent agency. So they get booked for, you know, one of them was like Keanu Reeves, like she does all the John Wick press tour. So she does all the makeup for all the actors. And it was a lot of male groomers. That's what they call themselves.
Really?
Male groomers. And she said a lot of the male clients will love the product because it rolls on and it feels really nice, and they're lazy and they want something that feels good, especially when they're doing these press junkets and, you know, waking up and they're tired. And I mean, you know, those press tours for those celebrities, it's actually like when all the work comes in for them, that's probably a grind because they're just talking to people all day long. And yeah, they all really seem to receive the product well. So hopefully, you know, going to Los Angeles is so interesting because I love it. I know some people hate it. I love LA, and Danny, who works for me, we talk about it. Like we like LA more than New York. And a lot of people say, well, everyone's fake. I'm like, yeah, but I prefer fake nice than real cold. Like New York, to me, people like shove you and they're like, that they don't apologize. You know, they're just like rough around the edges.
You know, I'm the other way around.
I know. Most people are. Trust me.
No, I love LA. I don't have any one.
I get it.
One versus the other, but I'm talking about people. I'd rather real cold than fake nice.
No, I'd so much rather the fake nice in the moment because I'm just there for a day. And so, you know, some of these influencers come in and they're nice. I mean, we actually had a night. Everything was nice. We worked with another brand that we really like, the girls and the team. And so, you know, everything was kind of easy breezy for us. But, you know, you definitely get that vibe of in Los Angeles, people are, you know, it was the first time that I haven't had a lot of people be like, so who are you? Who do you know? You know, because that tends to be the scene there. Like that's what people do. And I remember hating that when I lived out there. But I've also always worked in that entertainment industry to a certain extent. So you get a lot of that, you know, or people are very fake confident in their fame, or you know what I'm saying? Just kind of this weird vibe. But the weather can't be beat. The weather's so beautiful. You know,
yeah,
and I just like that.
Ocean.
I mean, for a work trip for a couple of days, yeah, it's pretty. And I have great celebrity luck, y'all. Like, not that it's that big of a deal, but when we left an event the other night, I saw someone. I'm like, I know who that was, and I couldn't place it. You would have been able to. You're so great with faces. And I was like, man, I saw someone. I couldn't. He walked right by me. He was shorter, as most of these like Hollywood actors are. It always kind of surprises you how small people are. But I was like, he's good looking. And I was like, I know we've watched him on something lately, you know, and I start going through this whole like Rolodex of all the shows that you and I have watched, thinking, okay, was it this? We've been watching Succession. No, not as prominent as that. And then it dawned on me when I finally got back to the hotel a little bit later. And I was like, it was one of the guys in White Lotus, just walking into one of the restaurants where we had our event, you know, I don't know, not that exciting. And then when I was leaving the hotel, I was sitting there doing some work on my computer, waiting on Victoria. And it's funny because I don't normally sit in the lobby of a hotel, and it was just kind of time to leave the room. And I thought about sitting in the room on my computer because I'm a homebody. I tend to just want to sit in the hotel room. I didn't even go out with the team because I'm so tired. I'm so lame that they went and partied and I couldn't even handle it. I went to bed. But I'm sitting in the lobby and I look up and make eye contact. And it's Kanye. And I'm like, I don't think Kanye's wearing shoes. And what's he doing walking through this hotel? Because the hotel's nice.
I think he's having some shoe issues.
He's having some issues for sure. But It was interesting because, and I tried to explain.
Not even a sketcher wants to be in his feet.
Well, it looked like he wasn't. It looked like he just had on black socks. And I asked the front desk guys, and they were like, "This is some of his new spray-on shoes. They're a little, they were like they're a little different." So apparently he's doing, which of course he would, because he's so crazy and.
How many have you bought already?
How many have I bought?
Of GC
spray on
socks.
3D. I don't know. No, I haven't even looked at them, but it was interesting. I tried to explain to Fran it's a bigger deal because he hasn't been seen in a long time. And he said, like, if I come back and you see me, it's not really me. They've killed me, which I think is like the ramblings of a crazy person. But yeah, so he's apparently living there in that hotel right now. That's the scoop.
Wow.
So that was my trip. And then I made it home.
I like that, the ramblings of a crazy person. That's going to be the name of my next podcast.
Well, I think that I mentioned to the guy at the front desk. I mean, I know y'all probably don't really care about Kanye. It is what it is. And obviously everything he's done in the last, year, it's been pretty severe and he's lost a lot of fans, rightfully so. But I've always just chalked it up to he's like on a huge pedestal and he's mentally ill, and probably wavers between taking medicine and not taking medicine. So, and I think musically, at least in the past, I thought he was like very, very creative.
Talented, yeah.
Very talented. And
he didn't become so famous.
Then he started like hating the entire Jewish community, and I asked the guy at the front desk, he's like, it's kind of hard because he's a young guy. He's like, I'm Jewish. And like, I've spent so much money on Kanye stuff. The typical like young 20-something guy that's like, I bought sneakers, I've been to concerts. And I'm Jewish. And so now I'm kind of like, I was like, is he nice to you? He's like, yeah, I mean, he has his days. Some days it's like really friendly and other days you can tell he's not in a good mood. I'm just like, I don't know. I try to just think it must be very hard to be that level of famous and be mentally ill. And you don't want to take medicine because it probably inhibits your creativity, I would assume. And then you go off medicine and you're creative and you make music and you do all this stuff. But then you're also like, the Holocaust isn't real. Like, okay.
So crazy.
Like you lose all your business. But anyway, I'm happy to be home. And I'm especially excited because and I apologize if you hear Remy crying. We're doing this from home. He grows and changes so much.
He gets so heavier.
He gets so heavier. He does, actually, especially because we rock him to sleep at night, or I should say I stand, shake, vibrate, and like do figure eights as I sing. Like, I waver between Ansko marching with words, Ansko marching humming. I also gravitate towards Dua Lipa, One New Rules, that song, just because that's always really soothed him. And I dance him around and spin him around. And it just always pops into my head for some reason, which is weird. And I also don't know if you hear me singing, what do I sing? Oh, Holy Night. Also don't know why. I think it's just a nice song. It's a Christmas special, but I still sing that to him.
Yeah.
What do you sing to him?
Well, I waver. I just make up my own words.
Okay.
But basically on the same rhythm of ants go marching, all of a sudden all the ants go elsewhere instead of trying to get away from the rain.
He's not walking yet, but he's walking with pushing a little thing, and it's close.
And he stands up. He has done 1-2 steps.
Yeah, he's done 1 or 2 steps. I mean, we're not in a hurry, but I think what's so fascinating is watching how much they develop so quickly, and something that I feel has really helped and just a great thing. If you have a baby or you have a friend who's having a baby, or I could say even a toddler or grown child at this point, is the Kiwico subscription. Kiwico is a sponsor of the Fitish podcast, and they're defining the future of play by making it engaging, enriching, and seriously fun. So what is Kiwico? Well, it's a crate box subscription that's chocked full of like developmentally appropriate, age appropriate activities that are very enriching. And of course, it's going to change depending on the age. So like between 0 and 5, or I should say really 0 and 2 is where Remy's at right now. So they offer the Panda Crate level. And there's like two different tiers of prices with this one. But I was looking at it this morning because it changes, right? So you're going to get the Panda Crate level, but it's going to change. And usually you're getting, anywhere depending on your subscription between like 4 and 8 enriching activities. And you're doing one of these crates is like $30 a month. And it's crazy because think about, I'm just going to make a comparison because I've done this in the past. Like you're at a toy store, you're at the mall, or you're on Amazon and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy this thinking that your kid's going to like it. It's probably going to hover somewhere between $20 and $40 and it's one activity. But with these Kiwico crates, you're getting like, very age appropriate developmental activities. And you're getting, like on average 6 for the price of like one toy in another store. So Remy loved his first crate that he got, especially because it had a lot of sensory activities, which was perfect for him. And, now he's kind of on to the next level. So, and of course, as your kid gets older, there's more challenging activities, probably things that scare me, like as it when he's a teenager and the activities are so hard, I really have to follow all the directions and I don't understand what's going on.
I am the most excited about seeing Remy grow with Kiwico. Like they have so many amazing stuff that you put together. Like they have this little roller coaster that like they send you all the parts, and it's so exciting to me. Like I was raised by an engineer, so we did a lot of that stuff together, and I'm so excited to do that with my kid.
Yeah, no, it's a good point you said that, because if they're into engineering or science or art, you can kind of choose their path along the way. Redefine learning with play. Explore hands-on projects that build creative confidence and problem-solving skills with Kiwico. Get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line at kiwico.com/Fitish. That's 50% off your first month at kiwico.com/Fitish. All right, Francisco. So you were assaulted. You assaulted back, nearly robbed. A detective.
Robbed back.
You robbed back your own items. A detective's finally on the case.
And his jacket.
And we heard from one of you who listened to the podcast and you were so upset because you're a detective. And I appreciate you so much. Another detective had contacted Fran and said, that's ridiculous that the cop wasn't following up. And so someone else agreed and a detective is on it and going to the bank. So there was that drama.
Yeah, I received a really, what I can say, a pleasant call when I have this detective reaching out and like, hey, I'm the detective assigned to your case. I was like, oh, wow, I thought my case was like shuffled in a storage bin. And he just took my story again. He asked me a couple questions and things they're following up. So we'll see what that brings. But
then just as you're recovering, you had kind of an emotional work trauma happen. I got a text from Fran. I'm going to let you tell your story, of course. I got a text from Fran in LA, and it was on my super busy day. I mean, it was nonstop. You and I barely talked. And I asked you how your day...
Well, it was when you were in the plane.
And I asked you how your day was going. And you're like, I really wish you were here that I could talk to you right now.
Yeah, so we've been working on an international project very heavily. Big development. And we were in a Zoom call with the higher ups in my company. And we were talking about certain details. We were talking about certain financial details, how we were about to arrange the payouts and the payments and all that.
And there's really no I could say blueprint for this sort of thing because they don't really work.
And I pioneered the whole Mexico thing. Sure. So we're trying to arrange things and make things that fit the best to our abilities and the best to our convenience. So we have monies coming in and we're just trying to figure that out. And things got a little heated in that conversation. So one of the persons that were in this call just all of a sudden jumps off the call without saying goodbye or anything. He just thought that he was off the call, but he didn't hang up. And he had his earpods on. And he goes on to a different meeting that he had.
So he was sitting there at like a lunch.
Yeah, he was sitting in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So this was a Zoom call.
Right.
So he was in a restaurant. I was in my car. I actually was with Remy. My business partner in this project, she was in Miami, and one of them was in LA, and the other one was somewhere in a restaurant. So we stopped talking. Like, he jumps off the call and he just starts talking. We didn't know if he was talking to us or he was talking to someone else. And he all of a sudden starts just talking trash
about you and your
talking trash about me, like making comments about her body, like about her implants, about like it was just.
And he's like it's weird in real estate, but like he's like your boss, kind of like your superior.
He's like my boss's boss. And he just goes on and on and on and talking about my personal life, because there were some people that knew me, that knew you, that knew my ex. And long story short, it was just a ramble of shit. And I can feel like.
And I love that all of you were being quiet.
Oh, yeah. Everybody in this call, like if someone would have said a peep, he would have found out that he was in a Zoom call still. Nobody said a peep. We just let him rant away.
How long?
5 minutes.
Fuck.
No, like 3 minutes. Like, thing is that 3 minutes when you're hearing someone ranting sounds like an eternity. And we were all in shock. All of a sudden.
You were so shocked that you didn't record it.
So people keep asking me that, why you couldn't record it.
Well,
it's like,
I get that.
I'm going to tell you one thing. You cannot record on your phone if you're using the phone to make the call. So there was no way for me to record it. And Remy had forgotten his phone, which shocker.
So how did the call end?
So he finally gets off the Zoom call,
but still didn't realize.
Another higher up was on the call, and he was speechless.
Yeah.
And my business partner, she was bawling.
I bet.
Like, she was so up, but not. She wasn't bawling emotionally. She was just bawling out of, like, she had rivets. Like, she was just in rage.
Yeah.
Someone like talking about her in any matter, just talking about her in a way that it's not anything to do with our profession. So
that's also like sexual discrimination, right?
So it's more hostile environment. And
I knew you were upset because, you know, when we spoke about it, and obviously we've spoken about it multiple times, you've like always remembered something different that was said, you know, because certain things take priority, and it's like, oh yeah, and then they're talking about my personal life and who you dated, and it sucks because I know these other two people that were sitting there having this conversation, and we're all like friendly, and I don't think they were saying anything like horrible about me, but I think the point of all of this is that, you know, I try to sometimes I was trying to like not play devil's advocate. They were saying
who you dated, so this is pretty horrible.
But yeah, just because it's so embarrassing. It's more about, I try to stop for a second, right? And I think about what's relevant, which none of that would be relevant. Absolutely. But then I go, look, human nature is to gossip. We all do it a little bit. You're sitting there having lunch with someone, having drinks. Someone brings up contextually, oh, he dated this person or she dated this person. Okay, fair. I get it. However, this is like a boss of everyone. And that is just such fucking bullshit. Like, in no environment, you bitch to your spouse, you bitch to your friends, you bitch about work to people in your life. You don't have conversations with someone with, like, it's their superior too, and yours. And then to sit there and for him to do that is so, I mean, you're like, what, 60 years old? Like, that's gross. Like, how, you know what I mean? Like, what is wrong?
It's just the fact that emotional lack of control that comes to show, and
so super unprofessional, and
the fact that he wanted to get some more juice out of his deal. Sure. Like, he wanted to see what else can he snag, and by trying to snag something, he was revealing all this stuff that happened in a call that it was just a shit show. And with this particular guy, like we've been friendly. We've seen
Yeah.
each other in many other places.
But I bet it hurts your feelings. Whether, even though if what someone says about you, you know, after a few days, you're like, well, it's not true. Or, you know, he's just was frustrated by a work call, whatever. But like, it's still hurtful when it's someone that you've worked with.
What it's hurtful is that, or what it's a little more upsetting is that you have a track record. Like I have brought certain clients, we've done all this, and he's trying to measure me by my personal life.
Sure.
And it's like, just stuff like that.
I just want to say this because I know you told me not to say anything that was said, but I just, since you haven't really specified anything and this doesn't pertain to you or your work environment, but they've all made some comment about how we're not married and had a child together. Like, who gives a fuck? You know, like this is a work environment. Like, what does that even fucking matter? Yeah. Especially considering the parties involved are like not traditional. So like, what does it even matter that we're not married? You know, it's so funny to me, the things people talk about. I got so riled up, and then like I'm landed in California talking to Fran. And, you know, it makes you so mad for your partner that I was like, I know this old fucker has like looked at my social media. Like I'm about to like, you know, message him and be like, you know, for your partner, which I would never do that, you know, but like, I was like, what do you need me to do? You know, but also I get mad and I get it. But my advice to Fran at the time was like, the ball is in your court. You know, I think the lesson here is when something like this happens, just sit on it for a second, you know, because you're emotional. I always say that about an email, like don't fire off an email, don't take a phone call, just like sit on it, you know, especially, and then, you know, kind of update everyone. Like at what point did they find out that y'all were privy to this entire conversation?
100%. He knew, I'm pretty sure not more than an hour after.
Someone else who was on that
because
call
the other
told them.
person on the call is pretty much his right hand in another branch of this business. I love that he let him like dig his own grave. And he came back, he apologized, he explained that he was describing my business partner as someone else has talked about her before. And
so he's trying to gaslight you.
Seemingly, there was a disconnect. There was something that it was missed there. We think we heard the whole conversation, but it seems that he says that there was something in the background that we didn't know. And regardless, right now we're working through our angles. Like we need to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to move forward.
That's the thing, because I wouldn't want to work for a person, especially as a superior. I think that's something that and I try to be better at too. Like I don't talk to another one of my employees about one of my other employees. You know what I mean? I may vent to you about something that happened at work because that's what you do, but that's part of a leadership role is like, even if I heard him trashing someone else completely and it wasn't even personal about me, I'd be so like,
and that's so this is the second time that happens in the company, that I have this experience with another manager that we were in a social event
and they were just bashing someone in the office.
They were bashing someone else in the office. Like I literally stepped up and left. Like I don't care about anybody else's drama, and I hate to see someone that it's supposed to be a leader,
right,
bashing someone else because of their lack of confidence or because of their
screams insecurity, but it doesn't make it okay, because how is this someone that's going to be a mentor to you?
And I'm not like, I don't think that I believe in equality, but I don't think we live in an equal world. And I believe that everybody is up and they have their own agendas and everybody feels that they're the king of the world. But when we're trying to build a team, when it's a company that's starting in Texas, like it's very big in many other markets, but you're starting in Texas, you have to make sure that you build a team, that you feel a team spirit.
And I think I didn't know what even to say to you other than just like take a beat and think about it. And I like to kind of just talk, not like advise, but just like talk about what are your options, because I don't really understand this world of real estate. Like to me, for instance, I find it very strange how real estate companies work, because you are like a contracted employee, right? Like you have to pay dues, you have to get all your own leads, you do everything by yourself. Yes, sometimes they internally offer cool seminars and things of that nature, but in general, like it's almost like they, and then they do things like try to control your social media. And I'm like, but you're a contractor. So, and I get that you sign contracts and I get that you have like a boss, but the whole thing's weird to me. So then it makes me confused. And maybe some of y'all have great business advice for Fran in this way to give him some feedback on this. But like, my thought was,
no, I'm not asking for advice. Just, I don't want to start hearing advice. I like to hear your opinion. I think.
Just what would you do? I think it's interesting though, because okay, then don't give Fran any advice. He just wanted to tell the story. But I was just saying, like, wouldn't you go? Can you? I know it's always frowned upon to like go to your boss's boss, but in that scenario, especially with the proof that you have, which is a whole nother story of how you acquired that. But like, you could literally go to this person's boss and be like, professionally, not like, hey, no, dramatically, but just like a really unfortunate scenario happened and I can't work under this person, like.
So right now we're in a very touchy situation. Like, as you said, we are contractors. So we are our own bosses. We do whatever we want, but we have to obey to certain guidelines. And when we have
like,
certain
does this
projects,
particular person make money off of you?
Well, I'm pretty sure we all pay his salary. We all pay everybody else's salaries. Like we, in our production, in our dues, all that is included to keep this company floating. And I love the company I work with. Like they have given me a good platform. I think it's a really good fit for what I'm trying to do. However, this has been such a bitter experience. Finding someone that is so high up in leadership that has that lack of emotional and self-control. Because if you were to have an issue with me, I want you to come to me and tell me, hey, I think that was out of line. I think the way that you want to handle this deal is not the correct way.
Exactly. On a professional level,
on a professional
with some constructive criticism, or also, right, like if he knew he got busted, to actually call you on the phone and just fess up and apologize. Like, that was really unprofessional of me. I was heated from the phone call. I was frustrated with the outcome or whatever, and just at least like man the fuck up and be like, but again, we're trying to give people rational ways of handling things that are clearly insecure and not rational people, and I think that's what's difficult, is you can't like expect that kind of apology out of someone that behaves that
100%.
way.
And the things that it's all about personality and their character. Like,
so what are you going to do?
So, and don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want our audience advice, it's that I'm still planning my own way out or way in. Or
what if someone gives you a brilliant,
well, if you have a brilliant advice, I'm sorry.
Method?
I will love that. I will actually love to hear your advice. I don't like. I know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna keep the eye on the ball. We've been growing a really great business, and it's just a matter of how we're gonna be able to work with someone like that and how we're going to be able to manage that. He called, and I said it before, he called and apologized. Of course, my business partner doesn't want to hear from him right now. She's still heavily in shock because she's a female in a very heavy male oriented business, and she has dealt with this type of stuff her entire life. So she thought she was in a company that she didn't have to worry about that, and she had a really good experience. And I think that just touched a really deep fiber in herself. So we don't know yet. We have a lot of stuff going on, so we need to be very, very smart about the next moves.
I agree. And look, at the end of the day, being successful is the best counter to any insult anyone makes against you, you know? And sometimes if you can figure out how to use it as fuel. Now, I agree. If you had to work like directly with this person all day, every day, I think there's a time and a place for handling it. But, you know, you don't want to throw so much away because, like you said, it's a great company and you like the organization in general. But that's a problem. And usually, like, the rot starts at the top. So it's like, you know, if that person's pretty high up, fuck that. Like, how did you even get into that position? Is this, I mean, maybe this is the real estate world, that it's just a bunch of people that like gossip about other agents and other people. It's so strange to me.
I have no idea how he made it to that role. He must be really smart and successful. I don't know what his skills pertain to, but because I don't know the guy that much.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Like, and I'm pretty sure, as I said, he apologized.
And he doesn't even know you that well, right?
No, we haven't seen each other like 5 times.
Okay. So I think that, and I try to remind myself of that. Look, we get hate, or especially over the years with my job, you get a lot of people, and speaking kind of as your business partner too, like, she, you know, as a woman, you're always going to have people that like grab the low hanging fruit. You know, they're like, oh, like, you're dumb, or, oh, you have fake boobs, or, oh, you know what I mean? People say stuff like that and you're like, okay, you know, I think people just comment on things. Maybe they want to find reasons for tearing down others' successes. And it shows insecurity. It doesn't make it any easier to digest, but like, it is what it is. Right. And I mean, now you've had about a week to digest it.
Yeah.
And
still not fully digested.
No,
you know?
I bet. And I'm sorry
Still,
that
like,
happened. It sucks, especially when you've been working so hard.
And it's just when someone talks about your character.
I just want to say to you, though, that maybe let's try and look at it as, and I don't know the full story or the full picture, but I have found the more successful you get, or seemingly get, to other people, the lonelier it is, you know? And that can be really hard to manage sometimes. You know, you have a lot of people that are very jealous. I mean, I've sadly lost friends over the years, either because of like the public position of the job, or people think it's cool at first and then they don't like it, or I don't know, or people perceive you to be successful, or even more than you are, or more than you feel, and they just try to tear you down because of it. And I listen to like a lot of business podcasts or books or clips that I see, and people say it all the time, so it must be true. Like, a lot of people that we look at as like uber successful, like the sharks on Shark Tank and people like that, and they're like, my gosh, you have like 0 friends, and people are, you know, very unsupportive and very jealous. Or women say that especially about their boyfriends and exes, or like, you'll never amount to anything. You know, it's just crazy that people do that, you know? And I think it just shows a lot of his character, less about you, even though it was personal.
No, 100%. Like, I actually didn't take that in a personal way. Like, it didn't hurt my feelings for what has been said. What it hurt is that it was said, like he didn't come back to me and say, hey, this is what I really fucking think.
Yeah.
This is what I think should happen. Like, there's people that don't know how to talk like humans. Like, they talk in this business world and everything is in an abstract and everything is very unpersonal. I like things to be personal. Like, that's why I like the New Yorker. Like, I like the New Yorker is direct, and and he's actually from New York.
So that's a terrible example.
Yeah, but there's some people that are really direct. Like, they will tell you things as they feel it. It doesn't matter if they will hurt your feelings or not. Yeah, 100%. So I much rather have that.
Will you give us an update?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
After things settle?
Yeah.
Because we're all going to be interested.
And I do want to hear your advice. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get overwhelmed. Not by you guys, but by my own people around me that wants to give me their input on what I should do. And it's like...
Like who?
Like friends around, you know, like people that know about what happened, and they say, hey, you should like, the you should do is just gets so tiring sometimes.
I don't know. I like it. Y'all can give me advice all day long. I welcome it because you don't have to take it, and sometimes it gives you a myriad of concepts and ideas to cherry pick from, and you can be like, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Fuck you to that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted.
I
And
will,
again, I'm
for
sorry
sure.
that happened.
No, and it's an eye opening. So things happen for a reason, and you need to know where you're standing. And I like to know where I'm standing at all times. And that's
Hey, at least you know you could beat him up. I mean, you beat up a 20 something, you can beat up a 60-year-old.
no, I'm not gonna beat him up.
I'm just saying, if it came to that.
Oh, if it came to that, yeah, for sure.
You know, you're like down. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I want to end on this note, though. Fran and I often end up like switching cars at restaurants because he's going to leave with Remy when Remy's crying, or this happened last week. I don't remember where we were, but my mom and I ended up switching cars so you could take Remy and my mom and I get in your car, and I was like loading up the Target stuff or whatever, right? And
these two are bloodhounds.
And I'm like, in the back seat, I see a pink hoodie, y'all, and it smells weird.
Did you smell it?
I see a pink.
Oh,
Because I just picked it up. I wasn't like doing this.
Yikes!
What the fuck is it doing in your car? It smells terrible.
You should like go to your doctor and see. Make sure you didn't like inhale.
It's your car. It's your car.
I know. I have it there for evidence.
And okay, so I, of course, was like, whose is this? I didn't say that to him because it took me all of like 10 seconds to look at it and be like, oh my gosh, this came from the robbery and assault. But if I hadn't have known that, I would have been like, what is this nasty pink hoodie doing in the back? Like there was some prostitute around here.
Physically assaulted and verbally assaulted in less than 2 weeks.
We need to sage you or something,
Oh,
or whatever it's called. You want to get someone over here?
My business partner has a psychic that does that type of stuff. I'm going to call her. Like, okay. I'm about to call and see, like, I need a cleanse.
Okay. You do that. Whatever you need to do, baby, I support. Well, almost whatever. All right. We'll see y'all next week.
See you next week.